Hey, 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 y'all. Welcome back to Entrepreneur Wisdom Wednesday, faith for the journey and wisdom for the work. Y'all, it's been a journey, might I say. For 2 weeks now, I had technical issues that kept me from recording on a regular scheduled day. And then just yesterday, as I was planning to get going on recording normal schedule Entrepreneur Wisdom Wednesday, more tech issues popped up. And I said, the devil is a liar because we will get this Wednesday's recording recorded. So, anyway, it's coming out a day late, but not a dollar short because this message, I think, is a message that everyone needs to hear. And it's personal for me as I have equally been through very similar uh, perspective or had this stance and felt the same way. Because today we're talking about something that creeps up on every entrepreneur, leader, and creative at some point. And the topic is imposter syndrome. You know, it's that feeling that whispers, "You're not good enough. You don't belong here. Somebody's gonna find out you're just figuring out as you go." And let me tell you something. All those whispers in your head or sounds on your shoulder, whispering in your ear, they're lies. Because imposter syndrome is that invisible wall that tries to keep you from walking fully in what God already confirmed. And today we're going to talk about how to silence that voice and start owning your space with entrepreneurial maturity because you didn't come this far to keep doubting what you prayed for and have been blessed with. Now, as usual, y'all, let me get real for a minute. When I started this business, the Factory 10, I was still working my full-time corporate job. I still am, quite frankly. And the balance, though, back then, it was really hard. I mean, real hard. I was torn between two worlds: the purpose I felt in my business and the purpose I still felt like I had in corporate America. I'd log into Zoom calls for work during the day, and I'd spend the nights printing shirts, answering client messages, designing graphics, and somewhere between both, I started to question my worthiness of both spaces. I was like, God, are you sure? Are you sure I'm built for this? Are you sure I'm qualified to carry this kind of purpose? Because at the time, I didn't feel like either space wanted me all the way. Corporate America was in distress. It was early COVID, had everything flipped upside down. And I was trying to launch a brand in the middle of the unknown. Y'all, there were nights I sat there thinking, who am I to think I can do both? Who am I to think I can build something of my own while still showing up strong in my career? And the truth is, I wasn't sure I could. But to God be the glory. Here's the thing: by His grace and my willingness to accept my own worthiness, I did. I showed up for both. And 5 years later, now they say if you make it 5 years in business, you've made it, right? And so we made it 5 years. And to God be the glory, the continuous years, we're working on year 6 right here, that we'll see many more fives. But this business is still standing and it's still thriving and it's still growing. And you know what I learned through it all? That every time you get to the top of a mountain, you realize you're standing at the bottom of another one. The work doesn't stop. And those doubts and whispers on your shoulder or in your ear, they don't disappear. You just learn to climb with confidence because you know who's leading the way. Y'all, imposter syndrome isn't humility. So please don't confuse that with being humble or having humility. It's hesitation. It's the enemy trying to make you question what God already qualified. And let's be real, with success doesn't come erasing of self-doubt. It often exposes it because the higher you climb, the louder those whispers get. But when you have entrepreneurial maturity, it says to you, I can feel unqualified and still show up. I can question myself and still execute. I can wrestle with fear and still finish the assignment. Because obedience will take you places confidence hasn't caught up to yet. So you don't have to feel ready. You just have to move faithfully. Let me repeat that one more time. You just have to move faithfully. Entrepreneurial maturity isn't about being perfect. It's about being planted. It's when you stop explaining why you deserve to be in the room and start stewarding why you were sent to it. Hell, sit a chair at the table if they won't make room for you. Make your own space. Because at some point, you've got to shift from praying, God, am I ready? To declaring, God, I'm available. Because listen, the desire to do better, to grow, to expand, God already gave you that. But he's not going to force you to own it. You have to stand up in your assignment like, yep, I asked for this, and now I'm going to show up like I deserve it. As we like to say, you got to stand on business. Now, let me lean in for a moment because this is where it gets really real. And you should have a realization that you're suffering either with imposter syndrome and you need to get out of it, or that it has definitely been a thing of the past. And so you want to stay away from it. And so you got to remind yourself that you prayed for the clients. You have prayed for the business. You have prayed for the open doors. And now that it's here, you're questioning if you belong in the blessing. That's not humility. That's disbelief. Because quite frankly, every time you tell yourself you're not ready, what you're really telling God is, I don't trust your decision, God. I don't know if y'all want to go have that conversation with him at the pearly gates, but I'm not. So sometimes entrepreneurial maturity means realizing you're not the mistake, but you're the miracle. You're the evidence that God still calls the imperfect, the unsure, and the ordinary to do extraordinary things. Now, let's take this to the word real quick. And in Exodus 4, Moses stood in front of the burning bush, face to face with God, and still said, Lord, I'm not qualified. And God responded, who gave man his mouth? Translation is, I don't make mistakes. If I sent you, I equipped you. That's the truth for every entrepreneur listening right now. God didn't accidentally assign you that dream, that gift, that business, or that calling. He picked you on purpose with your past, with your personality, and with the messed up process. He gave it to you. Y'all trying to make me preach, and that's not my calling, I don't think, Lord. But I'm going to move on. 2 Timothy 1:7 reminds us, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Y'all, that's your permission slip to walk boldly in what he's given you. You don't need to ask nobody else, and you don't need anybody else's approval. And you don't need that little voice that's sitting on your shoulder nagging you to approve and tell you that you can do it because he already declared that you could. So here's my challenge for you this week. Stop apologizing for being called. Everybody ain't called, and that's okay. But if you've been called, live in that, stand on it, and be unapologetic about it. Secondly, Stop shrinking in rooms you prayed to be in. God put you in them because you're capable of being in them. You're worthy of being in them. So stand on business in them. And lastly, stop doubting what you've already developed discipline for. Discipline will take you places where talent cannot. You asked for it, now own it. And remember, every mountain you climb is just preparation for the next one. You're not behind. You're simply just leveling up. All right, y'all. That's today's Entrepreneur Wisdom Wednesday on a Big Fat Thursday. Faith for the journey, wisdom for the work. I'm Tonia, and I'll see you next week. Don't forget, though, to like, subscribe, and share this episode so we can keep encouraging more entrepreneurs on this journey. Also, be sure to follow us on YouTube at thefactory_10 so you never miss these midweek reminders. And y'all already know, this week's t-shirt says it all. I'm not an imposter. I'm the evidence. So wear it as a reminder that you belong in every room God called you into. You can grab yours for just $15.99. The link will be in the description. And before I go, if you're serious about growing as an entrepreneur, not just spiritually, but strategically, make sure you register for the Influential Selling Workshop that we will be holding in partnership with Barker Leadership Institute next Monday, November the 3rd, 6 to 8 p.m. 2 hours of more information than you could get anywhere else for the low price of $47. This masterclass is going to shift the way you sell and the way you show up, because confidence and competence go hand in hand in business. The link is also down in the description. So don't miss it, because I promise you it will be a wealth of information and free giveaways and handouts that you can't get for this low price. And most importantly, I want you all to remember, God didn't make a mistake when he chose you. You are not an imposter. You are the evidence. So let's press. I'm out. Bye.